Hello again, my friends. As you no doubt have gathered by now, with the holiday season upon us, I've been doing a lot of top 10s and best games for the year recap videos. So today I'm giving you my top 10 picks for the best games on the Viveport Infinity subscription service. Now, as far as the service itself, I reviewed that in detail previously. I'll link to that down below. There are pros and cons to the service, but all the details are in that review video. Today, I'm just covering my top 10. And for full disclosure, this is a sponsored video. I was paid by HTC to make this top 10. Without further ado, let's get to my picks, starting with number 10. Ultrawings is a lighthearted and arcadey flight simulator. The game world exists within a series of islands. On each island is an airport that serves as your office. You navigate your laptop in each office to choose the flight challenge you would like to play. As you're learning, at the beginning you'll obviously have limited choices, but before long you can cherry pick the missions that you enjoy the most. And there's substantial variety in the flight missions. From simple takeoff and landing, to flying through rings, to shooting balloons and taking pictures of landmarks.
This is air traffic control. You are cleared to land.
With each successful mission, you earn money in your piggy bank. After you've earned enough, you can buy a new office on one of the new islands or even buy new aircraft. To buy a new office, you have to choose free flight and then fly to the new airport to purchase it. As far as flying itself, it's straightforward and pretty easy. Although I did mostly play the arcade flight mode, the simulator mode is more challenging.
You are cleared for takeoff.
But I found the arcade flying mode the most enjoyable. Even when presented with a new flight challenge, it's pretty calm and relaxing with the colorful environments and the fun soundtrack that makes you feel like you're on vacation. After playing for about an hour, I'm 6% through the game. So there's a ton to do and unlock in here. For a laid-back flight simulator, I highly recommend it.
This is air traffic control. You are cleared to land.
Number 9. Torn is a narrative mystery in which you explore the abandoned mansion of Dr. Talbot. He guides you on the journey with his consciousness, represented by a fairy-like floating light.
Take a look.
Early in the game, you're granted the gravity tool. It can move almost any object, and you'll be using it a lot throughout the game. Most of the game you'll be connecting lines of energy throughout the mansion using various props and furniture that contain symbols that match the missing pieces on the energy lines. Hunt for the missing piece, use the gravity tool to move it there, and then rotate it until it locks into place.
Nicely done.
That's what you'll be doing for the vast majority of the game. Even though you'll be doing most of the same thing, it's still quite enjoyable. The mansion is large and beautifully designed, with quasi-steampunk technology and antiques. The voice acting is excellent, and there's a ton of it. You're almost constantly engaged in conversation with Dr. Talbot. And outside of that, he's narrating and giving backstory on almost every part of the mansion.
Always thought one day Rena and I would be traveling the world together. I guess we did that in a strange sort of way, even though I myself never left the country.
I wouldn't technically call this a puzzle game, as most of the time you're just searching for shapes and snapping them into place. There is occasionally some variety, like when you replace the sails of this ship in a specific pattern, but it's all pretty mechanical and not brain teasers. The strength of this game lies in its exceptional storytelling, voice acting, and visual design. I beat it in a little over 4 hours, and I really enjoyed it. I have a full Let's Play of this on my channel if you're interested in how the story unfolds. I'll link to that down below. If you like the idea of exploring a mysterious mansion accompanied with great voice acting, then definitely check it out.
So let's see, what notes can I take? I need reminders for the blog. Rena's family is from Russia, they were wealthy, she was all about psychology, and so is Talbot, I guess. And they think the brain is a machine. These people are crazy.
Gene, let's go back.
Number 8. In Blind, you're driving your little brother somewhere and a spooky apparition causes you to crash and black out. You wake up in a mansion and unable to see. A mysterious and somewhat comforting voice is guiding you through the mansion.
Welcome, Gene. You're finally awake.
And so the puzzle adventure of Blind begins. The way you see in the game is with sound. Sound acts like sonar, which allows temporary visibility within a certain radius. Early on in the game, you're granted a cane to tap any surface to generate sound to see things. Which is a godsend, because before I got the cane, I was throwing books everywhere to get a sense of the room around me. The puzzle challenges are pretty logical. It all feels like a series of escape rooms. And the fact that you see with sonar provides some unique X-ray experiences. Like seeing gears turn under the floor, which opens a door, or seeing behind a wall in a miniature magnet maze. I found this whole experience truly unique. I've never played anything like this before. And the sonar mode of seeing provides a new level of immersion while exploring the mansion and solving puzzles. If you like escape room puzzles and are looking for something really original and refreshing, then I recommend it.
I need to find something to help me get away from here. That man mentioned some puzzles. Is this a game for him?
Number 7. Apex Construct is an action-adventure game that I think has been really underappreciated. The game is a mix of archery combat and puzzle exploration. I was surprised by how fresh the archery combat felt. At first, the archery is simple, but it quickly gets more strategic. For example, you'll eventually face off against bots that generate shields and can teleport to dodge your fire, but only a special arrow will take down their shields. And then you'll have a very limited window to switch your arrows and destroy the bot before the shield comes back. All while avoiding their attacks and looking out for other bots as well. The puzzle exploration elements are pretty straightforward. Most of the time, you'll be looking for codes and passwords to unlock new areas to explore. And often, you'll need to use old-school DOS commands on computers to get new information. There's a fair amount of voice narration as well. Your main guide sounds like Batman, so you may or may not find him annoying.
She is getting closer and closer to our safe house. It is the only place where I can keep you safe. So we need to stop her.
I find Apex Construct to be a fresh and exciting action-adventure. You can beat it in about 5 hours, and it's a must-play. Number 6. Transpose is a mind-bending game which records your actions so you can use looped duplicates of yourself to solve puzzles. The goal is to get special cubes into their bases, but of course the execution is much trickier than it sounds. Whenever you begin a level, all of your actions are recorded. After you're done with your actions, you then choose to discard or keep everything you've done. After choosing that, you then begin the level anew and your actions are recorded again. If you choose to keep the previous recording, you'll see it played out, and all the actions you did will still occur. The previous recordings are called echoes. Early on, you're limited to just a few echoes, but eventually you'll be using up to 8 echoes at once. Later in the game, gravity will become relative to each echo, and the physics of transferring cubes between different gravity directions adds a new challenge. I found the overall design of the game creative and refreshing, but especially with interfaces on your arms. On your left arm, you use a slider to fast forward time, which makes waiting for echoes less tedious. On your right arm, each echo is represented by a ring. Highlighting a ring will show where that echo is, and pulling a ring will destroy that echo. There's sliding movement and teleporting. Teleporting is required to cross gaps in almost every level. Based on my progress, I estimate 8 hours of playtime. Personally, I had a blast playing this, and even though Transpose is number 6 in my overall top 10, it's my number 1 favorite puzzle game. Number 5. Superhot VR. Time moves when you move. This is the closest I've found to authentic Matrix-like combat. You'll feel like the ultimate badass taking down the red guys while controlling time. The campaign is almost like a puzzle game, since you'll always have limited resources and you have to be selective with the weapons and props you'll use to destroy the red guys. After beating the campaign, there are other play modes. My favorite is Endless. Survive as long as you can against unending streams of bad guys. It's super fun and a must-play for all VR players.
Whew. That took quite a bit of ammo. Let's see if I can find some more in these cars.
Number 4. Arizona Sunshine is the best zombie VR game that I've ever played. It features a large open-world story campaign with richly detailed environments and good voice acting too.
Ah, there you guys are. I was starting to get a little lonely. So what's up, dudes? You know the rules, though. Don't get too close.
You can move via teleporting or sliding, it's your choice. This is very much a survival shooter. Ammo is scarce and needs to be searched for, so you'll be scrambling to find enough ammo during the stressful zombie onslaught. Besides the exploring and surviving, there are also simple puzzle elements, like searching for hidden items and finding transportation. This is a spectacular single-player game, but there's also co-op multiplayer, which is perfectly suited to this type of gameplay. For a thrilling and well-crafted zombie shooter, nothing else compares. Number 3. Pixel Ripped 1989 begins with you living inside a Game Boy-like world, playing a game on a TV, but after disaster strikes, you'll then switch characters to become a young student playing on their game system, controlling the character that you previously were. And it's in this state that you'll spend the vast majority of the game. You need to play your portable game system while juggling responsibilities in the real world. Like keeping your teacher distracted so you can keep playing the game without getting in trouble. The retro game that you're playing is a simple platformer, but needing to keep the teacher distracted means you have to keep switching your attention constantly between the retro game and the classroom. Later, things become more mixed and intense as the video game world invades the real world. Like here, where you need to stop the bad guys from abducting your friends. Or here, where you play a vertical level attempting to hit TNT to attack the school headmaster. The default control scheme is with motion controllers, so you feel like you're actually holding a game system. But you can disable the tracking for motion controllers, or ditch them entirely and play with a gamepad.
Mrs. Marilyn.
It took me 2.5 hours to beat it, and I had a great time. Even though it's a little short, it's incredibly unique, and it satisfied all kinds of retro gaming nostalgia for me. Number 2. The Gallery Episode 2, Heart of the Emberstone. You have departed from Earth and traveled to the mysterious world of Ember in search of your missing sister.
Breathe, Elsie. Okay, breathe.
So, with Episode 2 in the name, it's obviously a sequel, but this game stands on its own very well. There's no need to play Episode 1, although it is a good game too. Heart of the Emberstone at its core is a science fiction adventure inspired by classic 80s fantasy, like The Labyrinth and the Dark Crystal movies.
Damned Wisgogs!
Almost everywhere you go in the game, you'll encounter a new type of puzzle or a new superpower at your disposal. Throughout your journey, you'll encounter holographic reprojections of the past, primarily from your sister that has gone before you, but also from characters long ago that once lived in this world.
Mother's mind was made up the minute I was born.
She was a complicated woman, but deep down, I think
don't do that!
Beyond the character scenes, there's even more story to be found in the books and tablets that you'll find in almost every room. And the backstory lore feels legit, because the visual design of Ember really drives home the feeling of an ancient place that could tell you even more stories if the walls could talk. This world has a deeply historical feel to it. This is a fantastic adventure with a great sense of humor and a fascinating tale. I beat it in about 4 hours, and it's one of the very best VR adventure games. Windlands 1 was a Zen exploration and item hunting game with a unique grappling hook traveling mechanic. Windlands 2 keeps the same unique grappling hook movement, but it's now a full-blown story campaign with exciting combat. In a beautiful abstract world, robots have run amok, so it's up to you to destroy them. The various tasks and missions begin by talking to an NPC.
Scout the area out. If you find the parts, bring them here and I'll put a new core together for you.
After hearing their story, you're given a quest marker so you know where to go. You'll be engaged in both combat missions and fetch quests. But even between combat missions, when you're going from point A to point B, you'll have a good time, because simply traveling with the grappling hooks is enjoyable. The combat takes a while to get used to because you have to mentally juggle the grappling hook swinging and archery at the same time, but once you get used to it, it becomes second nature. There's both regular enemies and boss battles. The boss battles I found especially fun. Swinging around to avoid fire while trying to aim arrows on the boss's weak spots is super engaging. The later boss fights become massive engagements, giant ships to take down inside vast arenas. It took me about 4 hours to beat the whole campaign, and I really enjoyed this because, like I said, simply traveling with the grappling hooks is enjoyable and fun, especially with the sound design and music. They really nailed the audio mood of fantasy exploration and travel. Oh, and I forgot to mention you can play the campaign in single player or co-op multiplayer. And after you beat the campaign, there are racing modes and hidden collectibles to find as well. Windlands 1 was fun, but it felt like half of a full game. Windlands 2 has nailed it. If you haven't played this before, then you owe it to yourself to try it at least once.
Stand back! Ah! Get off of you, bucket of goats! I'll bite your cogs off! Your blood is mine, Guardian!
Well, that's it for now. Thanks so much for watching. If you like what you see, please subscribe. See ya!